Hello and welcome to Buildings of Tomorrow. My name is Jon Lester, and today we are talking about the future of the workplace. And I'm joined today by Elisa Rönkä. Thanks for joining us, Elisa.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Elisa is the head of Smart Office in the Europe region for Siemens Smart Infrastructure. She's the master of all things that are the future of the workplace, that are the offices of the future, smart buildings and this kind of stuff. So we're very happy that she's joined us. Elisa, let's start at the very beginning of this topic. The office of the future. What do we talk about? What is this environment that we're referring to?
That's a very interesting question, John. So in essence, we go to the workplace to be productive. So the workspace as such needs to contribute to this productivity of the individuals within the workplace. And how it can is via different angles. First of all, the environment, to really create an environment that fosters productivity. That means the right set temperature for each individual. So not only, let's say, on an overall level, but on an individual level. Same for lighting, noise, all the different aspects that come in regards to the environment. But also, it's not only just the environment, it's also about creating, let's say, delight factors in the workplace, because those are known to create inspiration, and then you get into innovation and all these kind of different attributes that you want to achieve in the office space in addition to productivity. So really, it's a very multidimensional thing, how the office needs to start contributing to the productivity and well-being and safety of individuals as well. I think in the current situation that we are all in and working from home, as you can see, it's also a new factor that really needs to get, let's say, heightened attention in the office environment.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of things there. It's a huge amount of different aspects that we have to consider. But safety is an interesting one, as you say, specifically at this time. When we talk about the workspace, the environment, and its effect on safety, what are some of those different topics?
So, of course, traditionally, from a safety perspective, we think about things like fire safety or any kind of emergency incidents, and how do we handle those in the office space so that we are able to evacuate, for example, employees swiftly and all these kind of aspects. And that has been the traditional way of looking at it. But now with the new, let's say, threats that we have at hand, for example, with a pandemic crisis, we can start looking at that also from a different perspective. For example, humidity. How can we make sure that the humidity is at a level that doesn't let's say, enforce the contagion in the workplace? Or we can think about things like access control. Can we practice social distancing via access control measures or some censoring analytics? So it's a whole new world that we are entering into now after the COVID crisis in the workplace as well.
Yeah, and for all of those things that you mentioned, I guess not just the collecting information, but the interaction, letting the people within that space know what's going on is a huge part of that capability of that step.
For sure. So the office is not a static environment. It's absolutely a dynamic environment with all sorts of individuals working there with their own preferences, and really the value comes from connecting the people with the spaces and with the services, and at the same time kind of having this personalized environment for them. So it's really this connectivity piece, and not only from a technology perspective, but also from a technology perspective, is really key to foster well-being and foster this next level of what I like to call competitive advantage of that organization. So how do you connect people with each other, for example, in the office spaces to gain that next level of whatever is being created from a business perspective within?
Yeah, that's another aspect, isn't it? Because not only do people don't go to an office and sit in isolation, not only are they reliant on the space and the air and the lights and all these things that you mentioned before, but also the other people, their colleagues and how they interact. Everything that we do nowadays is about collaboration, is about working together. I think in general, as a society, we understand the benefits of the diversity of experience and skills. So how can a building, how can an office space help foster that kind of collaboration?
So I think it's really about creating this kind of serendipity factor in the workplace, that how can you make people kind of bump into each other and start talking in a very natural way? Because I like to say that innovation doesn't happen in meeting rooms. So, when you organize a time and a space for creating new ideas, I I doubt all of those ideas come in that organized time and space. So hence you need to have this kind of organic flow of people starting to collaborate, and hence then you get these kind of new ideas and all that coming from it. And now what creates a new twist to this is that on the other hand, we need to look at the safety perspective. And when employees are returning to the offices now after the crisis, all of a sudden maybe the bumping into each other can't always happen physically. So hence we need to kind of look at it again from a new twist to that. How do we work with that from a virtual perspective as well, in addition to, let's say, physical spaces contributing to collaboration. So it's a very interesting topic.
It's a huge topic, and as you say, interesting is almost an understatement, because if we talk about flexibility of temperature and lighting control, maybe in our industry this is something more traditional. This is things that we've been dealing with for a long time, even humidity and CO2 and this kind of stuff. Adding this personalization factor is another step for us, and then starting to consider all of this additional impacts. This serendipity factor, maybe not in this episode, but we're gonna have to dive into that in a little bit more depth, because we can measure, we can put a sensor or a meter on some of these tangible variables. We can measure the temperature and look back and see if it's gone up or down. It's pretty tough to put a sensor on serendipity and on positive feelings. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm excited to do the next couple of episodes. Before you know it, we'll be deep into some of these different topics. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you all to everyone that listened. Have a little bit of a look out for some of the other episodes we're going to do with Elisa. We've got a heap of things to talk about. And also, please feel free to share, comment, and like on this episode. And we'll see you very soon. Thank you.